Hi, I'm Kep Kepner CPA here in Dallas. Have you heard of crowdfunding? There are several crowdfunding internet sites, one being Kickstarter. And the idea is that as a small business, you can ask people to invest in your business, and you can raise small amounts of money using crowdfunding. So the Jobs Act, Jumpstart Our Startup Business Act, was passed by Congress 3 years ago. Well, why haven't we been able to use that to raise funds? Well, some people have. I have a client that has raised money using a crowdsourcing method. But it was only until this month that the Securities and Exchange Commission wrote the rules that allow you to do crowdfunding. Now think about that. The law was passed 3 years ago, and only now, 3 years later, can you begin to use it and know what the rules are. That's the way our government works. So don't think just because something gets passed into law and it sounds great that you're going to be able to do it right away. However, now you can. The Securities and Exchange Commission has issued the rules that lets you do crowdfunding. So you could go find out about that by Googling crowdfunding. You could probably go to Kickstarter and learn about it. This is not only for businesses, but it's also for charitable organizations and so forth. So if you're going to raise $100,000 or less, then you have to provide financial statements, and they have to be certified by the chief financial officer of the business. So if you're only looking for $100,000, the chief financial officer is probably you, the owner. So you're going to have to certify these. So you're putting your name on the line, that what you say in your prospectus about why you're raising your money and what you have performed in the past is valid. And let me assure you, if the SEC is on your case because you committed any kind of fraud, it's a big deal. So don't think that this is just some simple thing you can do, just raise the money and nobody's going to question you, because that's not the way it works. If you're going to raise between $100,000 and $500,000, then you need to have reviewed financial statements by an outside CPA. So look at that from my perspective. Here's somebody that doesn't have any money. They have a product. They're trying to build their business. They want me to do reviewed financial statements so they can raise money from the crowdsourcing. So as a CPA, I'm going to be really careful. That's what you do when you do a reviewed financial statement, of course. But I'm going to be very careful so that I'm not validating some activity that is fraudulent or fraught with all kinds of errors or misrepresents anything. So if you're going to raise that kind of money, you do need to have an outside CPA do a reviewed financial. We do reviewed financials for construction companies that need construction bonding, so we're used to doing the process. More importantly is it needs to reflect what your business has done and what you plan for the use of the funds. If you are raising more than $500,000 and it's the first time you have used crowdsourcing, then you can also have a reviewed financial statement by a CPA. If you have gone to the crowdsourcing funding route before, so you're not a first-time user, at that point you need audited financial statements. My firm does not do audits. We do tax audits. That's a whole different thing where we're fighting the IRS on your behalf. But when it comes to a financial audit, we don't do those, and most smaller CPA firms don't do that. The reason is that it's a whole nother set of rules that a really big firm has the resources to do. And let me tell you, it will really cost you too. The smallest audit I've ever seen has been $7,500, and that was a balance sheet that had cash on it, and that's all. No income, no expense, just cash. That was many years ago. Today, that same audit would probably cost you $25,000. And so an audit is for a company that's already grown in size and needs that. Although we don't do audits, we sometimes act as the financial vice president for a company that needs an audit. So we then represent our client and provide information to the audit firm so they can be efficient in preparing their audit. So we're involved in that, but we just don't do audits. If you're crowdsourcing and you're going after more than $500,000 and it's not the first time, then you're going to need to have an audit. I actually think this jobs bill is wonderful. I think it's an opportunity for somebody to go get financing that they can't get from a bank. And the reality is they're going to have to attract that money from individual investors, and they're going to have to keep track of all of that. And you can do it, and you can have the money then to do what you want to do with your business. So we'll be there to support you if you need that. Give us a call. Thanks.